Lichen. What is it? What isn't it? Is it a plant? No. Is it an animal? No. Is it an alien? Kinda sorta looks like it, but no. Fungus, bacteria, algae? Well, kinda maybe it's all three. Quick note, I personally took all the photos in this presentation. Each photo is a different species of lichen found near Orlando, Florida. So, lichen, what the heck is it? Is it a fungus? Well, remember, the fungus is in a kingdom all its own called fungi. Scientists have identified over 144,000 species so far. Computer models now estimate the kingdom of fungi contains over 5.1 million individual species. This means most are still awaiting to be discovered. Fungi survive by breaking down or recycling old carbon for food. Fungi by itself cannot create energy from the sun through photosynthesis. Lichen has been studied and found to use photosynthesis. So, lichen has abilities of fungi, but it is not a fungi alone as it is able to photosynthesize. What about an algae? Is it an algae or does it have algal properties? Algae is in its own kingdom also called Protista and is another very complex organism. Algae is typically an aquatic organism that, unlike fungi, contains chloroplast, which allows for photosynthesis, which produces its own food. A lichen has algal abilities like photosynthesis, but it can also take energy like carbon from the decaying of organisms like a tree branch, so a lichen is not an algae alone. Cyanobacteria. What about cyanobacteria? It appears to be a blue-green algae, but it is not an algae. Cyanobacteria is part of yet another kingdom, specifically called the Eobacteria kingdom, or bacteria kingdom. Cyanobacteria acts like algae, though, as it can use photosynthesis. Cyanobacteria alone, though, is not efficient at breaking down decaying matter for energy like a fungus, so it is not a lichen by itself. So what is it? We still don't know. I still don't know what it is, a lichen. What is it? Well, until recently, 2016 actually, scientists thought lichen is just a symbiotic relationship between two organisms, an algae and a fungi, or a bacteria. The fungi and the bacteria are interchangeable. So scientists attempted to grow it in a lab and found out they could not grow it. Something was missing. It turns out the missing ingredient is yeast. So a lichen is really a mutualistic relationship between the fungi, which is typically the base layer, then algae and or cyanobacteria, and a yeast. The yeast is called Basidiomycete. All extremely complex and powerful organisms by themselves, and they have teamed up naturally. So kind of like the Avengers. So here is a lichen attached to a decaying branch. You can see the top is somewhat green, which is showing the chlorophyll from the photosynthetic algal or bacterial layer. The bottom side, shown with the red circle, is the fungal layer, and this absorbs moisture from the air and absorbs energy from breaking down or recycling the carbon, like from the branch that it's attached to that's decaying. Platysmatia is the species shown here. Platysmatia. So, a lichen is 2, 3, or 4 super complex organisms combined into one. So wait, why should I care about this? Why should you care about this? Well, many reasons. Here is just a few. Lichens allow algae to grow and thrive in climates all around the world that it would normally not survive in. So think about it. So if you have an algae that can produce energy from the sun, and it normally wouldn't exist somewhere, but it can exist because it can attach to a fungus that's attached to something breaking down. So basically it gives algae a bigger area. So this algae growing all over the world absorbs carbon dioxide and off-gasses oxygen. Well, since we humans breathe oxygen to survive, and we breathe out carbon dioxide, This becomes very important for human health and survival. Many other benefits. Lichen came in very handy during the Civil War, as soldiers often covered wounds with patches of lichen. It turns out the antimicrobial benefits of lichen helped prevent infection and possibly worked better than standard gauze. Lichen is edible and is still very much medicinally valuable to humans. Native Americans and many other cultures around the world have used lichen as both a food source and a medicine. Lichen actually has carbohydrates. You can buy or make antibacterial or anti-inflammatory teas or salves from it. I am actually sipping a tea right now I made from Usnea, U-S-N-E-A, Usnea, also called Old Man's Beard. Lichen is still a popular ingredient in perfume manufacturing and dyes. Also, litmus paper is derived from lichen. Lichen provides beneficial air quality information to humans, similar to the old canary in a coal mine. Lichen absorbs the air around it, and then bioaccumulation occurs within it. This can read like a book as to what is in the air. Oil companies have used lichen and moss to determine if oil may be present underground. Supplements for human health are sold all over the world, including Amazon.com. Usnea extract, sometimes called Old Man's Beard, is the most common genus for health supplements. Lichen also prevents erosion. Wind and water can eventually erode mountains. Lichen helps slow this mostly natural process down by holding organisms together. Birds use lichen to help build and insulate nests. Xanthoria parietina is a lichen species that can resist radiation. This can be used as sunscreen for humans, and sunscreen manufacturers are already using it. So there's many more human benefits that exist, and many more discoveries await this mutualistic organism. Thank you.